Hey, how's it going, guys? It's your boy Blu-rayDave back with another movie review, let's say. Um, I was completely unaware of this, and I should have looked into this on Movies Anywhere, and I probably should have done more research through the years of Marvel. Um, so I found out that there is an extended cut of the original Fantastic Four. Uh, Finally gave it a watch a week later, and I must say, it makes the film so much better than it was. Like, don't get me wrong, guys. Like, I've always enjoyed, those classic Fantastic Four films, from '05 and '07. But something about this version of the movie, it fills in a lot of the blanks. And maybe that's why it didn't perform well at the box office. Well, besides, like, the internet wasn't a big thing back in the day, right? Like, a lot of people couldn't really express their feelings on a lot of sci-fi movies, really. So, um, yeah, I can't imagine this cut came out probably in '07, right? It feels like an '07 thing. Like, that was when Rise of the Silver Surfer came out, right? Um, and unfortunately, it is not, like, on people's radar, right? Like, the only versions, or, like, yeah, the only times you could, like, watch the extended cut is if you have Movies Anywhere, you got to go to the extended version on the theatrical release. And unfortunately, they don't have a separate, you know version of that, like how they do with some of the Spider-Man movies or some of the X-Men movies, right? Like, they have different cuts, and there's a DVD version, guys. So you guys already know I'm already gonna be on that, so gotta have it, right? um and I must say, this is gonna be, like, this is the definitive version, cut of the movie that people should watch. So if you have not checked it out, please go watch it. Please go watch it, guys. I highly recommend it. It's 2 hours long, and it's definitely worth the watch. Like, there's a lot, and I mean a lot of stuff that was cut out. Like, honestly, guys, when you watch the original version of Fantastic Four, you don't really notice, like the jump cuts, right? Like, say, like, you watch a different Marvel movie, right? And then you can notice, like, oh, maybe there was something that was cut out, right? And once you watch, like, another cut of it, then you start to pick up on it, like, oh yeah, no, I could see why, like, yeah, like, this should be in there. Like, honestly, I think this movie would have performed better in '05 if it was just released like this. And I had to check Rise of the Silver Surfer too. If that movie had an extended cut, it doesn't. Only this one out of the duology has a different cut. Oh man, like, you could definitely tell right away with the intro, it's different. It's completely different. Like, as much as classic and nostalgic as the original version was, it was kind of shoddy. So I could see why Tim Story wanted to go in a different direction with this. And immediately, there's already, like, two different scenes and all that. Like, most of the new scenes, kind of take up the whole movie, but again, it makes perfect sense. Like, I'm happy with this cut. They finally show, like, the space plants that Reed Richards was talking about. Like, oh man, you're growing space plants and all that. And yeah, some of these scenes are pretty longer, and we get more scenes of, Ben Grimm as the Thing, and um, Alicia. And man, this, oh man, because again, when you watch the original version of this movie, um, there's a lot of those scenes that are just out of context. Like, even I knew, just watching, like, rewatching that version over the years, and just, like, you know what, like, some things just don't add up. So I'm happy again with the extended cut of this movie, that it fills in the gaps, the blanks of all that. Like, especially, like, how Victor broke off the engagement with Susan, and I caught this right away when she was turning invisible. She was like, she was crying, like, because, guys, if you've seen the movie, you know what happens. Like we already know what's going on. Like she wanted Reed to be the bigger man, right? To step it up, right? Like to be the man that Sue wanted him to be. But like, so it didn't really make sense. Like I don't know if that was like tears of relief though. Like let's not look at it just one way. Like we have to look at two ways. Like either one, like she's upset because they like he broke off the engagement, or two, like tears of joy because she's finally like she spent 2 years dating this guy. Um, and you know how Sue gets on Johnny, like how like the public sees him as a fad. Like I'm actually happy that they showed a particular scene where he actually almost burned somebody alive, and then the public was just they immediately turned their backs on him, and he just felt like this awkwardness, uncomfortableness, the embarrassment. Man, although I did feel like there was a couple other scenes that didn't really necessarily fit in with the movie. Like it would take up a scene and then they'll go back to that scene. Like say like the scene where Reed and Susan, right? They finally have their moment. Like Ben, he thinks he had bad shrimp, and then they cut to Victor, kind of learning his powers a little bit, and then they go back to that scene where those two discover their powers, right? Like that's one of them. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get myself used to this version because I wasn't really hyping myself up for this version, to be honest with you guys, for a whole week because I didn't really know what to expect of it. I was expecting it to have like a dark twist. I was pretty much expecting it to be like the 2015 reboot, right? Like that's just my genuine feeling about it, right? Like again, I didn't know what was going on. Like if I haven't, let's say like a movie in general that I have not watched, but I want to watch a different cut of it, I always go to that first. So, I don't know if younger me was getting into Marvel, like would have appreciated this, but I appreciate this more. Um, yeah, I mean, technically, this could have been called a director's cut because I'm pretty sure Tim Story wanted to, again, reveal the whole movie in theaters and see what the public's reaction is like. At some point, guys, all the Fox Marvel movies will be re-released on Blu-ray by Disney, and at this point, I really hope that Disney will finally, re-release the extended cut and make it like the definitive version for people to watch. And wasn't it the first Fantastic Four got taken off on Disney Plus right away? My theory is that, like, okay, I don't know. I haven't paid my subscription back yet, but I'm hoping to this weekend. Maybe the theory is that again, I don't know if they took it down. That's just my thing. Maybe the theory is that they want to put the extended cut on there, and that's something I want to talk about a little bit too. Like I didn't know if I want to make a separate video on this, but here we are. Disney Plus should really consider putting extended and director's cuts on their platform. Like if people in general want to watch the different cuts of different Marvel films, then they need to do it. With Netflix right now, they have the extended cut of No Way Home. So this gives me hope that Disney Plus could eventually someday put the extended cut on their platform, because obviously they're going to release the theatrical version first, right? Isn't that supposed to come out next year? Like the rest of the Spider-Verse movie is supposed to come out on Disney Plus. And I mean, who knows how long the extended cut of No Way Home will be on Netflix, right? And if not a lot of people are watching it, then Disney will see it as an opportunity. Like, okay, now we could put this on our platform, right? Take my word for it, guys. Like, whatever movies you're watching, like, always watch different cuts, right? Because, again, most of the cuts fill in the gaps of the story. Like, whatever version you're watching, like theatrical version, if you're confused, like, watch different cuts, and that needs to be your definitive versions of the cuts. You know, BVS, the director's cut, X-Men Days of Future Past, the Rogue cut, Green Lantern, the extended cut. I could talk about more of these different cuts, like, you know, again, like the Wolverine Unleashed extended edition, like, you know, those are just some of the prime examples. Like, guys, a lot of people, again, need to acknowledge and appreciate different cuts, especially from different directors. Like, again, the Richard Donner cut is one of the perfect examples of different cuts, like how he wanted to present his film with Superman 2. I think technically George Lucas was the first director to, like, with the original trilogy when he made the special editions, how he wanted to make his films back in the day, but of course the technology was limited, right? Let's use that for example. George Lucas's original Star Wars, like the original trilogy, are technically extended cuts, but again, special editions, right? And of course, again, look at the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2, you know? It's pretty much the same like Superman 1, but you know what? I'll take it because I've seen the original version of Superman 2 so many times. It is just so annoying. Again, that's just one of those examples. Well, okay, the biggest director's cut that people are still appreciating to this day is Zack Snyder's Justice League, right? Everyone is familiar with that one now. Like, it's the definitive cut of Justice League. And, again, hopefully that film will drive people into a better direction of, like, oh, I should watch the extended cut of this movie or director's cut of this movie. Like, again, appreciate different cuts, okay? My definitive versions of Spider-Man's 2 and 3, again, is Spider-Man 2, the extended cut, or 2.1, and Spider-Man 3, the editor's cut. There's a reason why number 3 is called the editor's cut. And I try to promote those two specifically because, again, like, people want to know. They want to know where they could get their hands on it. Like, yeah. Seriously, guys, research these different cuts of different films in general and just give them a watch. Like, I know I mostly talk about different Marvel cuts, but just, I know there are other films that have, you know, different cuts, of course. Like I said, I'm repeating myself, but I know what I'm talking about. And really, Spider-Man No Way Home is technically the first MCU movie to have an extended cut, so hopefully they'll give Disney and Marvel and Kevin Feige an opportunity to, like, I don't know if to re-release the previous films, like to give them extended or director's cuts. Because I know Endgame definitely had an extended version, you know. I missed out on that, but, like, I believe they put in some of the deleted scenes in there, you know, so. Either way. Again, No Way Home is technically the first. At least it's out to the public, like, you know, digitally, right? And I'm happy I got a chance to see it in the theaters last summer. Alright, guys, this is pretty much my kind of movie review on Fantastic Four. I mean, I pretty much pointed out, well, not all the scenes, but, like, I want you guys to be surprised. Again, if you have this movie digitally, especially on Movies Anywhere, go to the extended version, okay? Like, again, I highly recommend it. If you still have the DVD of it, please keep it. That needs to be your definitive version of the movie from now on, okay? And I promise you guys, I can promise you this, I know I'll get my hands on that DVD soon, so just stay tuned. Alright, again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for playing. May the Lord be with you guys, always love you guys. Peace out, guys, and remember, it's clobbering time. Alright, you guys have a good night. Bye, guys.